And part number 3, the harmonies for heaven and hell. Now, obviously on overdrive, if I were to play something like, it sounds really, really noisy, but that was a harmony, for example. So what they've done with heaven and hell is they've split the harmony into 2 parts. So basically what we're saying is, in the studio, the one guitarist played this, and this will be the red part. You'd record that, and then he'd play the blue part that's on your PDF file, and that would go. And if you combine them, you'd actually have something like this. Now, what I've done is I've pre-recorded these parts onto my little recorder with some drums and bass that I put together, so your end result is something like this. You can hear it now. Sounds quite cool. So there's 2 guitars there. Now I want to teach you what to do there, and then as we go through, I'll play back the guitar with just the one part playing, so you can accompany that with a video and etc. But we'll get there now. Now, first of all, the part for this over here is really, really easy. I'm going to start with the blue parts. The timing is underneath. You'll see in light blue on the PDF, I've got counting going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So if I were to play the dark blue tab while counting, I'd have something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And it's really, really easy tab to do that. I'm not going to break it down too much because I'm sure that you can read that tab by now. On the fingers, try not to let the fingers move too much. Try and keep one finger per fret as best as possible, but if there's a bit of movement, cool. And be generous with your vibrato, because if you just go, sounds cool, but it's sort of lifeless. If I put a bit of a, it just adds a little bit of extra dimension to it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play through one of the guitar parts. You're going to hear it now. Just hold on a second there. And we're going to hear now the recorded blue part, or the recorded red part actually, sorry, and I'm going to play the blue part against it so we can hear how the 2 combine. So this is the red part by itself first of all. I'm going to play now just the red tab. You can see it sounds sort of empty, sounds cool. And I'm going to add the blue part to that now, and check how cool this sounds. 2 and 3 and 4 and... It sounds really nice with a bit of vibrato. Similarly now, if I were to swap the parts around and now I play the recorded blue part, I'd have something like this. Here's the blue part by itself, so I'm not going to play. And this time I'm going to add the red, so I'm now going to play the... Watch for the little grace note there. I was listening to the original and when I saw the tabs I thought, that's actually quite clever. So he puts a little bit of a hammer on there, 11, 12, so it's a small 11. So I'm going to count from the 9, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You can hear that. We're going to add that, listen for that carefully, and we're going to play now the red part. I'm going to do the red, backtrack's going to do the blue, and it should sound like this. For those that listen carefully, I did miss that offbeat in the last bar. Apologies. Don't make my mistakes, learn from them. Okay. But I hope you're realizing the power of the harmony here, because if I play these parts together, if I did them and I played the 9 and 8 at the same time. It sounds terrible. Listen to this. It doesn't sound good. And if I go to that 12, 10, it doesn't sound nice when one instrument plays it, but when you play them separately and then play them together, so it's two guitars playing, that sounds always really, really cool. That's the idea of a harmony with overdrive. Now, what's actually happening over here is when he plays this note, that note is E, that note is G, and those two notes make up the basic E minor sound. So when you hear that note and that note together, it implies an E minor. So this is where your theory comes in, because if you know the notes, if you know the names of the notes inside the chords, you're home dry. When he goes to the next part and he goes, one guitar does this and the other one does that, you've got the note G and you've got the note A over here. So he's busy building the harmonies as he's going along through. So we need to know what are the chords, and then after the 12 he comes back to the 11 as well. So your first beat of the second bar is actually the 11 and 12. The 12 creates a bit of a suspended, like that. But we need to know the names of the notes in the chords. This is very, very important. Now, our goals were originally over here to get to know power chords. That's video number 1. We learned that we can actually play a riff out of the minor, natural minor scale, not always the pentatonic. That was video number 2. And this video is teaching you that you can break up rhythm guitar, because that's what Tony Iommi's done over here. He's done rhythm guitar, but instead of busy going chords, for example, he's got two guitars playing at the same time. Okay, and if you're jamming with a friend, try and break the chords down. And what we mean by that is write the names of the chords in the song, like C, E, G, whatever the chords are, and then write down the names of the notes in the chord and try and work it out. Now, that's quite tricky, so I'm not going to go into that in this video. But if you want to know how to write harmonies around chords, drop me a WhatsApp and I'll make a dedicated one for that. Like I said, the purpose of this video was to make you aware of harmonies and how they sound. If you like what you're hearing and you want to do your own, and you want to take chord structure further and how to build harmonies, learn what's a third harmony, what's a suspended chord. If you want to know those things, drop me a WhatsApp. I'll happily explain it to you in another video. But for now, we've learned power chords, very, very important. You've got your power chord list. And I want to get to a point that you know everything when I say power chords. And if I say G, you must know, there's G, there's G. You must know your power chords like that. Not negotiable. Okay. Then you're going to learn your minor diatonic. And you learn to cool. You learned how you can take a theme and make slight little variations to make the theme interesting. That's the chorus. And we finished off with how to do harmonies. Okay, that's enough of me chatting now. I hope you enjoyed this video. Looking forward to hearing you. Be kind with your vibrato. Don't just play the notes dead. Get them going. And just quickly before I finish, I've had one or two students say, well, how do we get vibrato? What's the best way to do it? Now, quickly, just to zoom in there, we're going to bring the camera a bit closer. The classical technique for vibrato is like this. But you can hear something's happening, but it's not very, very pronounced. It's not a very distinct vibrato. So what we're going to do is we're going to shift everything to the third finger, because it's how I like it. Now watch the movement here. I'm sort of rolling or rocking, whatever terminology, on my wrist. You can see that movement there. If I go from different angles, you can see my hand doesn't change shape. It's just sort of rolling on the side. It's that movement there. That's the origin of the vibrato, if you want to call it that. Now whatever note I'm going to play, I'm just basically going up and down with it. You can see there. Now be careful, I'm not doing this, because that's clumsy. It makes string noise. It's very easy to drop the note. But if I do this, I've got a lot of control because it's in the wrist movement. And also, if I bend a note, I've got a lot more control. You can see there. And the important thing to watch there is my hand doesn't change shape. It keeps its shape as you're going along. And there we go. Okay. Also on the picking hand, it's going to get the camera from a different view over here, so a slightly different angle there from the picking hand. When we're doing vibrato and you let your notes ring, it's very easy for string noise to occur. So again, that same note, just because you had to pick some note. Notice the thumb again resting on the other strings. We mentioned this in the earlier videos as well. If you're playing overdrive and distortion, high gain means the slightest bump and the string makes a noise. We don't want that. So when I bend the string, you can see those strings actually moving from my thumb. And it's resting on all the top strings so that I make a noise. Now check that finger there, my middle finger. Take the pinky out the way. Check that on the first string. That's to stop that first string from making those. So nice control. Let the thumb look after the strings above the note you're playing, and then let this finger, let that look after the strings beneath the string you're playing. Keep your guitar quiet on overdrive. It's very, very important. Clear guitar sounds pretty cool to let a bit of string noise in because it just sort of creates a more of a chordal vibe, but with distortion, we want to keep the notes nice and quiet. Hope this video has helped. Have an awesome day. Take care.